So the plan is for today is to ask you some of the most obvious questions that you've ever asked before, because running a church, I find that a lot of people think mediums have been filtered in from Mars or some other planet and are not real people, and yet they're more real people than the people you will meet out on the street sometimes, you know, because...
Exactly, and a lot of the time they're not awake, and you know, people could go through their whole life and not realising they've got all these amazing gifts, but they come to people like me and I'll say, reel them off. They come back like 3-6 months later and say, oh my God, Karen, I'm doing this now, like you said, and I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I'm living a different life, a different, more awesome life. And I go, well, there you go.
I know, it is amazing. And all you're doing is waking them to the gifts they've already got, isn't it? But they don't often understand that. As I said at the start, it's really to find out about people like yourself. I know about people like yourself because I think you're fantastic. You've walked your spiritual pathway from day one, by the sound of it. So what was the earliest memory of connecting with spirit for you?
I guess the earliest for me was when I was around 7 years old, and actually Spirit and Destiny wrote an article about it, and that was very much for absolute weeks and months I could hear something what was above my head, which was the loft hatch. And I could hear these muffly voices, and could never make sense of them. And this one particular night, I heard a voice very clearly tell me to get out of bed and wake my family up and get out of the house.
Wow.
So, as a terrified little girl, it took me ages to get from the bed to the door because my room was lit up in an amber colour. And that was because there was a massive fire next door, which was a barn. And we lived in a thatched cottage, so the barn went up like a bomb, basically.
Oh, it would do, yeah.
My family my parents were knocked out with night nurse. They both got the flu.
Goodness.
So eventually I plucked up courage and went into my parents' room, woke them up, and we got out. But the thatch was actually smouldering away.
Goodness gracious.
So that was I suppose, my first real experience, and it was quite daunting as a young girl.
Yeah.
I kind of, how can I put it? I kind of knew things, but I kept them to myself. That's the only way to describe it.
Yeah, I can understand that.
It was easier to hide what I knew than to actually say it as it is. And I learnt, for a very long time, I kept stuff I knew away so people didn't judge me.
Yeah.
But that was fine. I was always drawn to mediums, and if I could sneak in to see a medium at a young age, I would, because I was always drawn to them.
So does that mean your family were into mediumship or accepted that side?
No, none of them know. They're very old school. They don't have any idea really what I do.
All right.
So, they still don't.
You sneaky little girl, you.
I just get on with what I do. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's something I'm very passionate about. I've had a tough life myself, so I've had to go through lots of experiences.
Yeah.
To bring me, and it was always about being crystal clear about the messages. I had to be good at what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be treated like some sort of freak, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I always think learn it like a trade.
Messages were absolutely crystal clear.
Yeah. So you as a working medium, clairvoyance is there, but is it clairaudient as well, or how does it work for you?
Yeah, it's all of it. I can see, hear, smell. I even can communicate with animals as well. I have the ability where I can connect with horses.
Yeah.
Animals that have gone lost, I can connect with their souls.
Wow.
So it's something I've always I've had, I guess. It's so natural to me. I don't know any other way.
No. So what about family that are around you now? Is there family around you at all or is there family around that understand what you're doing?
My daughter understands me completely. She, accepts what I've got. She's put up with it for long enough.
Do you think she'll follow in your footsteps, maybe?
She has an amazing gift with animals, and she's incredibly intuitive. She knows stuff sometimes that before it even happens.
All right.
So she has that ability, yeah.
So where do you think your ability came from? Because sometimes it skips a generation. For me it was my mother had this ability but didn't understand it. But you said your parents weren't into this. Was there a grandparent that had that?
I think my grandmother on my mother's side there was always something about her. She was very, she was an inspiration to me, but she knew things, but she never you never saw her dabble with cards or anything like that. She was very much a strong lady, but she always seemed to have the right advice. So there was a lot of wisdom with her.
Yeah. Even though they didn't discuss it, you could see there was great potential with her, with what she could do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And have you written a book yet?
It's funny you should mention that. Around about 5 weeks ago, I was woken up 3 times in the night and kept being given these 2 particular words. And I ignored it, tried to get back to sleep, got woken up again with the same 2 words.
Yeah.
Went back to sleep, and then I got a 3rd time. It was like, seriously, I need to write this down. So I was like stumbling around trying to find a pen and paper to write these words down, and it was actually a book title.
Oh, good.
But I've started, but you've got to be in that mode and that.
Oh, yes.
Be able to do it. But yeah, I'm hoping that is the goal, to bring a book out.
Yeah, I just felt that you would, just from your lovely energy. So it was quite clear that you could do that and a lot more. And with your experience that you've had, you've clearly understood that this is the best experience you can have in life. Absolutely. Despite all the life challenges that could have been around you and were around you, and yet you're out now helping others on a sort of 24/7 basis, I suppose, because of your website as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the beautiful message that Spirit brings through, some incredible enlightening stuff that they've brought through to help people, whether it's with business, whether it's a loved one that's died.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, the message is so right for those people when they come and see me.
Yeah, and it's good because they need to trust in someone like you who takes the job seriously, with all that love and care, that TLC that goes with it, because they're desperate at that time sometimes, and if it's the loss of a loved one, or it's what am I going to do in my life, or where's my life going, those sort of things, to give someone a little bit of direction from what I call head office, I think is great.
Interestingly enough, people always think when you have a reading, you have to be in a really awful place in their life, or it's all doom and gloom. But actually, I have clients that need direction with business. I've helped them not sign contracts, when I feel it's not good.
Yeah.
Giving them a bigger focus on the direction of the business or whatever it is that is blocking them moving forward in the direction that they want to move forward in.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So it's quite a big gambit you cover. You cover everything from teaching the spiritual abilities and gifts, however you want to call it, gifts, but to helping people in the business world and being influenced, making the right financial decisions based on what Spirit are giving to you. Absolutely. So do you run workshops and things like that? Is that part of your process?
I'm doing a big workshop in October with the wonderful Sue Stone. I'm doing down in Bournemouth, and then we've got dates for 2018. So I get approached for mentoring, one-to-one mentoring, people that are awakening and unsure what's going on, and I just get it, I just can help them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really rewarding.
So I guess you now rely on the power of the internet and the website. So I was talking about how lovely your website is, so people can make that connection to you, or it can be a referral because someone else is seeing you, and you know, can I find a good medium? It's like trying to find a good plumber. There's K-boys in every trade, as they say, but finding the right people.
It's I think the reviews talk for themselves, and I think if somebody's looking for a really, really good medium who can bring what they're searching for, very often they'll have a list in their head what questions they want to ask a medium.
Yeah.
My thing is that I will clear all those questions out of their head before they finish.
Good.
It's very, very, very unlikely that they'll walk away with not what they expected.
Yeah.
There's some really, really amazing mediums out there, and there's some really, really not so great mediums.
Yeah.
And all I can say is do your homework, do your checking. That's all I can say, really.
Yeah, I think you're quite right. I mean, learning as a trade, keeping your head up, and you know, all that support, love and guidance that you give to people. And there's others that sort of do the job, but that's for any trade, isn't it? Whether it's plumbers, electricians, mediums, healers, you name it, there's a K-boy out there somewhere, and sometimes people like yourself have to repair the bad damage that people have left behind, don't you?
Exactly. And sometimes some of the things that are given to those people that frightens them. You
know, yes.
It's totally not acceptable, you know.
No, I agree with you. It's only support, love and guidance. That's all people should be giving, not support, love and terror.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All those sort of things, yeah. So tell me about, do you know your guides that are around you? Is it been some of the same guides? Have you seen them?
They change a lot.
Okay.
But I have one main guide who is a monk. He's a Tibetan monk, and he's called Tukala.
That's nice.
He has been with me from a very young age. He's my main guide. He does a lot of the talking as well. He's given me his life in meditation, so I've seen this kind of life. He was an amazing healer, and I trained many years ago as a spiritual healer with the National Federation of Spiritual Healers. So I went down a healing route for 10 years, and gosh, that just kind of opened the channels up and cleared all the debris out of the conditioning and all the stuff that we don't want, that stops us from actually moving forward and bringing more magic in our lives, basically.
Absolutely. And I think you couldn't have done a better thing going down the healing route, because it's so important. You know, it puts a good grounding on the whole aspect of spirituality, and because it's a giving energy and it's going through you all the time, it's almost like a cleansing in some way. It's where it gets rid of all the rubbish bits that we've perhaps held on to. There's other ways of doing it, but it really makes you understand what your spiritual pathway is all about. And you were saying there's lots of people that come to you who don't know what they're experiencing and why they're experiencing, and clearly from your experience you can say, well, it's because of this, it's because of that, and it just opens the door for them, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. But I do, it's interestingly, the healing side of it, I still do a lot of healing. I do a lot of animal healing as well, especially with horses.
Yes.
But there is a communication, a silent communication with anything. Anything has a communication vibration, and it's connecting with that purely, unconditionally with love. And anything will talk, basically.
Yes.
The spirit world have so much to say. It was this weekend I had a lady who'd lost her mother, and her mother was so talkative. She just it was really hard to get the words out because she talked so fast. And she just laughed at me and she said, "Oh, you've got mum." and you know, those little things are. It just makes me smile.
Yeah.
You know, it's touching.
That's wonderful, because that's the evidence. It's proof of personality survival, isn't it? You know, they still are that person when they go over there, that character and personality, but with a different insight. You know, they can either accept that new spiritual pathway or grumble or moan, and eventually go, well, yeah, it's right. You know, I'm connecting with it. But it's so nice to bring that loved one through, because religion doesn't teach that generally, does it? It says once you're dead, you're dead, no matter, you know, whether they believe in Easter or not or anything like that, wherever the religion is. It's very closed shop, it's man-made. But to bring open a spiritual pathway is great.
I myself not religious. I don't go to church every week. I'm a great believer there's a bigger power
Yes.
And it all comes from source. Everything of unconditional love, healing, everything comes from source. So it's, to me, it's I don't get all hooked up in all this religious stuff. I really don't.
I agree with you. That's best way to be. And even for me, I do the same. You know, although an ordained minister, I don't have the doctrines and creeds, and I don't go around. You're too young to remember playing the Dick Emerys of this world with a clerical collar or a dog collar on, going "Hello, my son." It's just me doing a job.
Yeah, exactly, and it's all natural. It's all natural.
Yes. So how do you think mediumship will change in the future? Do you think there's a different sort of medium that's going to work beyond where we are? Because the energies have changed from old circles to new type circles. People are wanting that information. So do you see different approaches with mediumship now?
Well, for me, as much as I do go up on stage, but I don't make it a regular occurrence. My work is mainly done through the internet, and it works brilliantly. You know, I do a lot of Skype calls, FaceTime calls. But mediums, I think everybody is looking for a different way, because there are so many mediums out there. And every medium I come across, they all are trying to get to some level or get somewhere. I think if you've got something that stands out, it will push you that little bit in a different direction. But I just do my thing. They already know my life path, and I just basically get guided to where I'm meant to be or what I'm meant to be doing. And I don't, I used to think, oh my goodness, these mediums are like now up here, and but I don't look at it like that. I look at it as I enjoy the work I do. I meet some amazing people, and I'm happy doing it that way.
Yeah, I think it's quite important. I find a lot of people want to have the fast track approach. They've been to Circle 6 times and they want to be on the circuit and they want to do this, want to do that. And they're very much like Roman candles. For the first 2 weeks they're fantastic and there's nothing behind them. Experience and patience and love and attention to doing meditation and to doing the work that you did. Now, when you were 7 years old, did you have anything around that time you could see spirit, or was there more than just that?
There was so much more. The bedroom that I slept in was actually haunted. But as a young girl, I knew things were being moved around in my room, and I'd go to bed and I know my curtains would be shut. Sometimes they'd be open, the taps in the bedroom would be on, when the wardrobe doors would be wide open, or my doll would be moved. There'd be loads of things going on. And after the incident with the fire, my family moved to another property. And I remember my parents going out for one night. We had the babysitter, and I'd gone up to bed, and I walked into the bedroom, and my curtains were laid literally across in thin air, in a line.
Wow.
In absolute midair. So that kind of freaked me out, really freaked me out. And I didn't know why these things were happening around me. Another experience I had is I remember it was with my father, and he was driving the car, and I remember seeing a soldier walking across the road, and I just thought, well, that's a bit odd. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he had all that, but it wasn't modern army uniform. It was the tin hat type.
Yeah.
So it was really, really old. I'd go to places, and sometimes I'll go to places and I know that I don't want to be there, or something awful has happened. There's certain places where I'm physically sick. I can be driving in the car.
Right.
And the energies really affect me. So if I feel like that, I just turn the car around and come out. It's just easier.
Yeah.
But I've had visions. I've stayed in hotels and had spirit people peer at me, and they don't leave me alone because they just want to communicate.
Yeah, because they can see your light. Yeah.
So it is kind of, I've learnt the art of just shutting it all out, but sometimes it's not as easy as that, and they do get frustrated if you don't make that connection with them.
Yeah.
So I also see dead animals as well sometimes, where animals have been killed in a road or had an accident.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see their spirit still in the road. It's hard to explain.
No, I understand.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of phenomena, and I suppose for me the biggest phenomena is when I actually saw an angel.
Wow.
And that was when I was going through a really, really hard time with my marriage, and it was very late at night, and my ex-husband was fast asleep next to me, and something just came and woke me up. And I was looking up to the ceiling, and there was this massive bright light coming through the ceiling of my bedroom, and this very gentle voice saying everything's going to be okay. And whatever happened, that following day, it was like somebody had gone out and sucked all the rubbish out my brain.
All the fears and negativity.
Yeah. And it felt like I was very different. I can't put it in words, but it was almost like some form of transformation went on.
Yeah.
And then I had another angel experience. I do get them periodically, where I was in my reading room in my other house, and this angel just flew in, literally flew in, and I actually managed to take the photograph on my phone.
Wow.
And I caught her on my phone.
Goodness, how wonderful.
Yeah, I have masses and masses of pictures on my phone, and one day they will be put in the book, some of these images.
Yes.
But they all seem to, in my room here, they sort of, dogs, cats, I've even had chickens, sitting on the sides, and it's amazing. And I've got pictures of them. So
how wonderful. So you really love, you're almost like sometimes when you see those animals, you say like on the road, you're helping them like almost like pass over into the spirit world, and that transformation there in some ways, I guess.
There's always, if I see an animal injured or killed on the road, there's something awful I feel inside, and I feel a deep sadness, obviously, but it's almost like I'm always saying a little prayer or a little something in my head.
Yeah.
Because it's the animal kingdom is so important, and this abuse to animals. And I've just got an affinity with animals.
Well, I think that's wonderful, because what do they give us? They give us unconditional love, don't they?
Absolutely.
Whereas people don't.
Yeah.
It's all on condition.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some of the experiences I've had. I've been into a place which used to be an old workhouse, but it was actually converted into apartments.
Right.
And there were children in this workhouse, and when I was in there, it was like I just heard this little girl's voice in my ear, very clear. She was giving me her name, and she was running around, and it was just like, wow. And when I had no idea, to me it looked like a modern block of flats.
Yes.
The person I went and saw said actually this was a workhouse many years ago, and mothers and children used to go in here. It just made perfect sense. This little girl her spirit was obviously still in the building. But yeah, so there's been loads of phenomena that has happened in my life. Loads.
So I think you were really destined to do this job out of everything else that you've done in life. This is your excuse the pun, but your shining light, your job for the rest of your life on this side, and when you get to head office as well.
Yeah, I think so. But when you set off in life and you think, right, I want to be a nurse, or I want to be a vet, or I want to be a space woman. For me, it was always a caring role in my job. I did social work, so it was very much helping people. But it kicked in so much with my everyday job when I was working. It kicked in a lot, and obviously I had to keep it stemmed. And I didn't like that. I wanted to be me, and I wanted to help people in a completely different way.
Yeah.
So I just pushed on with it, and yeah, here I am doing it now.
But you've got a different customer base, and generally it's all love and light. I suppose we always get one or two come for the wrong reasons, but that's life. They don't fully understand what it's all about. You know, a medium is giving that support, love and guidance. They're not always Gypsy Rosely on the end of the pier, you know, telling them what they're doing. There's just an advice giving, and what resonates with the client is often the right thing because you've caused that to resonate. You've opened their eyes mentally and spiritually, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If I can help somebody in some little way through working with spirit, then that's, to me, that beats anything.
Mm. And it is quite often people who walk a spiritual pathway have had so much pain in their life, emotional or physical or both, but it's almost like the exercise, no pain without gain, and the gain is that you've got that ultimate trust in spirit, and spirit have got that ultimate trust in you because they show themselves so much. So it means, so when you start with another blank canvas, is whoever walks into your Skype field of vision, or they come on a one-to-one, you've got that complete trust, and you're just, you know, connecting with their energy and the energy of their loved ones in the spirit world. Or if it's, I suppose it still happens when you're giving business advice, that's still connecting with the loved ones around that person who's trying to help that person find their material part of their life. But in essence, as it opens up, it becomes their spiritual part of their life. One triggers the other.
Absolutely. One particular instance is, I'm not going to mention any names, but there is a little girl in the spirit world who comes through and helps her mother fight her cause because she died quite tragically in hospital.
Right.
And her blunders around this. So the daughter, bless her, she comes through and she could describe the drugs she shouldn't have been administered and various other things. And it's quite amazing.
Yeah. So
your mum.
Yeah, it's really good because what do they say? An engineer has to fix his mistakes. The doctor buries his, and then sometimes you just can't get through. And obviously that little girl's come back to try and put things right if possible from that.
Yeah.
So
they're so far ahead of us.
Yes.
And they know what's ahead or what's coming towards us in a way. So yeah, it's good.
It is. So can anyone be a medium if they wanted to?
Everybody has the ability to be. We've all got intuition, and it is about working that intuition to make it help them in their lives. Intuition, gut feeling, everybody can have that feeling when they walk into a room, whether they want to be in that room or they don't want to be in the room, whether they're going to connect with people or they're not going to connect with people. So it's working with that intuition, and yes, everybody has an inner psychic.
And I suppose you've got a great advantage because you obviously came to this earth plane to do this job because you had so much information as a young child, even though you at that stage you had no one to validate what you were experiencing. And I think there's been a lot of people like that. It's not until they got a little bit older they weren't seen as strange then, but they're quite normal now. And it's telling the people, and not afraid to tell people that are around you now, this is what you do. And if you sell anything with that confidence and that love and that energy, they'll make them think twice about, well, there must be something good because it's doing it, this young lady good.
Yeah.
And if you do a job you really love, you're happy, and although the hours could be longer, it's worthwhile because you see the outcome for it, don't you?
Definitely. And people do come back and say to me, something's happened.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something going. I go, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
That's normal. And it's how I look at it. I'm very a strong believer of karma as well. If people don't, it is all about loving people and being kind to people.
Yeah. But in essence, you're quite right, but you've got to be kind and loving to yourself first, accepting yourself. Even if someone has put you down and said, you're no good, you're no good, you're no good, and that affirmation rolls and you think, am I good? So you can only love people if you love yourself, that unconditional part of it. And that's probably why you love your animals so much, because that animals don't really hurt us unless you step into a cage with a wild animal, then then that's different. But they are so forgiving and so loving, and I'm sure. I guess you think the animals see spirit as well, don't they? In some form.
They do. And it's come up in so many times in readings where somebody might have got a new dog, and because they've lost their previous dog, yet the spirit dog comes through and can talk about this new dog or this new family member quite happily, and the owner's going, "Oh my God," you know. Yeah, they know so much.
Yes.
Everything has a language. Everything speaks, and it's just like when you listen, and it is about hearing and listening. When you hear, it's just incredible.
Yeah, and I guess you really wish other people could feel that love and excitement and the joy that you feel even talking about it. But sometimes they're still.
The trouble is, it's the fear that comes in.
Yeah.
And people always think it's all a bit dodgy or a bit scary, but actually it's not. It's a very natural thing.
It's real life, isn't it?
Yeah.
And theirs is not the real life, because you only have two options in life. You either live in fear or live in love, and you know there's a big difference between the two. And you sitting in that love that you created in your life, you had the ability, but you've actually taken that forward and said, I don't care what anyone else thinks, I don't care what's happened to me, I believe in this. And now you're setting your light and your energy, and there's that spiritual love that we should all be involved with, that unconditional love.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we've got a bit of a pathway to go for some, but we keep working at and chipping away at them.
Yeah, they'll find their calling eventually.
They will indeed. Karen, it's been great talking to you. Thank you for sharing that, because as I said at the start, people don't understand what a medium is. How do they get to that stage? You're so natural to everything you do. Even when you're talking about it, you're rocking and exciting. Your body language is great because you just love it. You just connect with it. And I must admit, I'm looking forward to when your book comes out, as in when. And I wish you all the best with your work, because it'll just be an extension of your happy life that you've created and creating that happiness for others. So thank you so much for finding the time today to chat to me. I've learnt, I've understood, and I wish you all the well for the future. So God bless. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
You're a star. So if you ever get bored, dial my number and I'll come back to you. But I think you will never get bored, because it'll just roll and roll and roll. So one other question, we've sort of like just closed the call, so to speak. But do you do any like painting workshops? I see a lot of colour around you and things like that.
I do encorsic readings, which is using hot wax.
Oh, right.
And creating images in hot wax. Myself, I've drawn many years ago. I drew lots. I went through a phase of drawing angels, lots of angels in different kind of poses and different kinds of ways, and they all had names. So yeah, I did some drawing ages and ages ago. I haven't had a chance to.
No, that's fine, because our pathway, our demand changes on our spiritual pathway. So the spiritual toolbox that you've developed will come out at different stages and go away, and bits and pieces get pulled back. So it's
the creative flair is always there.
Yeah.
And I know, like, after I was given this name for a book, it was almost like, okay, I need to sit at the laptop now. Something was really pushing me. And you know when we get these nudges, and sometimes they're real invisible, kick up the bum nudges. Yeah. And I had to do it, and it just flowed. I was just typing away on the laptop, and it just flowed. So they're always supporting us, they're always helping us and trying to improve our path. Yeah.
I suppose you don't get it if you don't ask, and you've got to ask to get it, haven't you, in some ways?
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you so much. What did you tell me what you expected? That would be interesting. Did you expect it to be more interrogating type approach?
Yeah, I did a bit.
Yeah.
So it's very friendly. It's just like having a chat.
That's all I ever do, and it's just because. But I understand what you're saying, because for the times that I've been, the very few times I've been on radio with this, they want to interrogate you. They don't want to find out. They really want to crush you a little bit and find out all the gory details. Yeah.
And especially the line of work we do.
Yeah.
Because they just don't get it.
No, they don't.
Do anything to ridicule you doing the good work that everyone is trying to do.
Yeah. and we only want to work in love and light, but going into a situation like today, although it's different than you thought, thank you for that anyway, but if you go on to any other platform, the local radio and stuff, that sometimes they just want to, pin you down to a table, tar you with the wrong brush, and there's been times when I've had to go on local radio with other religions, and I've done my research because they'll slam me with the Bible or something else or bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And you're very much on a defensive mode, so you're not quite sure whether it's a loaded question that's coming next.
Yeah. But no, it was cool. It was just really natural, and that you get the best out of somebody when it's natural, and it just flows better, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's always what I've always felt. I've always felt that that's the way. No matter what you and I are interviewing with people, it has to be just you and me talking in our own way, and not out to trip someone up. And that's why I wanted to interview people like yourself and Anna and others, because they're so natural, normal people that would be cautious of going on to any interview and thinking, this is preloaded, something nasty's going to happen, so you don't go too deep.
For it.
Yeah, but thank you so much for the time today. I appreciate that. And as Chris said, you can have the raw data back if you wish. You'll get a finished one in the fullness of time, as they say.
Yeah, finished version will be nice to see.
Yeah, and then eventually what that's going to do is just go onto our YouTube channel, because part of it is Q&A from like open circles. What does this mean? What does that mean? And the other part is interviewing people like yourself who are running this and doing this job because it's the most natural job in the world to do, as you've talked about, and I believe you, because that's how I feel about it. So it's really putting credibility out there so people can scoff about the bad mediums, but they can actually see some good ones who are doing the right work.
Exactly.
So thanks for being brave today and working with me, because I'm a bit of a nightmare, but I've enjoyed it, and it's just been nice to chat to you. So keep in touch as and when you can. And whereabouts are you in Somerset? Are you? Or?
Yeah, I'm near Bridgewater.
Oh right, yes. I know those sort of areas because I used to work on computers covering all Bridgewater and all down Hampshire. I came from Hampshire myself, so I used to work down there. Then I came up here and I've dropped all that trade about 22 years ago now. So I've been doing this work. Generally speaking, and it's, as you know, it's the best job to be in the world. It's a different customer base.
Absolutely, it's brilliant.
And you don't get angry customers. You get customers that generally need some help. So that's the best way to do it.
Genuine and not fake.
That's right. Alright, darling, I'll let you get on. Lovely to speak to you, and I wish you all the best. Take care.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see.